so epic of an intro. It's like
It
I'm
really
waiting for a
is.
movie to start in the background.
And I like it gets everyone attention. We're gonna start, but it's not like okay. I don't want any of my friends that I love dearly that are streamers to take this the wrong way because I do love them dearly, and I think most of them are unbelievably imaginative and really great. Um, but they've been making these longer and longer intros with like more and more stuff in it. It's like I think I don't remember. I was sitting for someone's intro and it was like 6 minutes. I'm like, this isn't an intro. This is a video.
Only 6 minutes. A lot of the ones I watch, they have at least like 9, 10 minutes, and
I'm like I mean, watching it once or twice because they did something that was really fun and cool and interesting. But after that, I'm like, dude, I just want to get to the show. I don't want to sit here for 10 minutes watching something I've seen 4 times already.
some channels have done really smart things with their like emojis, their custom emojis. So it like
Yes.
hypes people up and
Yes.
they're really excited to see the next thing and they get involved, lots of chat involvement. So for those that have managed to find a way to like really work it, I'm
Mhm.
amazed. It's
Oh,
something to strive better for.
it's A,
Do
it's so
better.
cool. And B, I like totally I was in people's chats, like seeing the kind of special emojis, but not understanding that they were like unique to each individual channel, and then like you could get your artist suit. I was like, I literally was going right over my head for the first like 3 or 4 months it was happening. I'm like, oh, is that what you're talking about? Oops.
Oopsie. We have some people here. We've got Vault Tech CEO 111. Hello. Yeah, something other than Destiny or the Acolyte. This is a
We will
palate
not
cleanser.
speak about either. We promise. Well, probably not.
I I didn't watch the Acolyte. I've only seen the memes and like the clips that look terrible. But yeah, I'm depending on other content creators to do that stuff and watch it, so I don't have to. And then I'll tune in a little bit to get a gist of it, and then I'm like, yep, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for your service.
between Open Bar and Friday Night Tights, I didn't have to watch a single episode of that ridiculously insane show. But even with that, the amount of clips I've seen of like the fights and certain other things, and I'm
Mhm.
just, whoa, howdy.
Yeah.
It's
Howdy.
just like, where did the money go? Because it wasn't in the costumes and it wasn't in the script.
Well, and the same with like Rings of Power, right?
Oh,
I
God.
I bit the bullet and I watched like 3 episodes and I'm like, this is so like Xena Warrior Princess set to me.
Oh, no. Xena was
Like,
so much better. Xena's arm, the armor in Xena and Hercules was
oh yeah.
so much better.
I don't mean to disparage Xena because Xena's my girl. I love those shows. But I'm saying like it was so obviously a set versus like the movies, the
Oh,
Lord of the
yeah.
Rings movies.
Oh,
It
yeah.
felt like really immersive. And it's like, okay, you're not like picking apart the costumes. It looks so cheap for being so expensive.
That was the thing for me is like, my mom and I do costumes my whole life. Like when I was a little kid, like by the time I was like 12, when you're getting that you're starting to be a exactly too high strung. Um, like when you're like 12 and you're starting to kind of like push back and start to become a teenager a little bit. My mom did costumes so much in my life that when I turned 12, I said, I'm just gonna go as a ghost. Like that was like that was me being mean to her, like saying, you can't make me a big costume. Like I'm tired. Like I literally, if there are little tiny white scars all over my body from straight pins, from standing in the kitchen or the living room for hours as my mom tacks this and that. She made the coolest costumes ever. I ended up in the newspaper like 4 times as a kid, like
Oh
4 different
wow.
Halloweens. And part of why she's so great at it is because she did theater for years and she was a part-time costume mistress, and she she makes you feel something. She's not going to get the detail. She's not going to get the details right. Probably it's going to be quick and
Mhm.
kind of dirty, but oh my god, you're going to feel whatever she's trying to make you feel. And I was like, sit down. I'm not going to tell you what you're watching. I'm not going to tell you how much money they spent on the costumes. And I had her watch part of Rings of Power, and she's just looking at me like, we do better than this when we don't have any money and Comic-Con's coming up in 2 days. Like, how is that
Which is
possible?
millions, millions upon millions. That's
I was,
insane.
I was like, no, we don't have mail. We have we fabric with it, print that looks almost like a mail chain if you stand really far back and don't actually like.
Have high definition or
Did you get that from Wish? Like
where did all the money go?
seriously. seriously, I'm sorry. There's just, I mean, some of the big blockbusters that were just complete flops and the money disappeared. A little of that went into pockets, but most of that was the people in charge being woke and stupid and not accepting that the audience was not going to pay for crap anymore.
Mhm.
But this is like, no.
Unforgivable. Months
This is
we
so
last
bad.
did a show.
This
Can you
is
believe
so.
that?
The only thing I can assume is that a whole lot of money went into a whole lot of pockets because it's just, even if you hired the worst guys for every single thing they did, if they paid them what they should have paid them, they still should have got a better product.
Yikes.
At least
Man,
that's how I
we
feel about it.
yeah.
As,
See,
as someone who has spent years on cosplaying and doing other costume based stuff on and off, I'm sorry, that was pathetic. Like, go to a Comic
it,
Con, you'll find better elves, better
oh yeah.
soldiers, better. Go to a Ren Fair.
Eugenia Kira says all the money for Rings of Power went to the Ignore the Lore Fund.
Yeah,
There you go. But yeah, it's already been a month since we last got together, and there's been a lot of stuff going on out there.
yeah, a lot of
So,
stuff in the
palate
world.
cleanser for everyone else. So, again,
Yes.
we will not be discussing the Acolyte or Destiny.
We
Ew,
will not speak
lots
of
of ew
either, even
there.
though technically I already did.
We touched on it. We're not going to discuss it. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Ugh, no, thank you.
But for a
But
palate
you,
cleanser, what we were talking about
yeah,
right before we went live,
I was going to
I
say
got
you were mentioning something that you
I got to go
recently
see a movie today
experienced.
that was a lot of fun and an unbelievable tearjerker, but like in the best way. But
Mhm.
honestly, I think if you go to see the movie Sound of Hope, which I will now explain in just a moment, but if you go to see this movie, and think you should all go see this movie, take a box of Kleenex.
Noted.
Literally, take the whole box. So basically, and this is all based on a true story. And I'd seen interviews with the pastor, Bishop Martin, and I knew a little bit about this, but I hadn't realized quite how amazing it was. So there's this
What year
tiny.
did it take place? Approximately.
I think it all started in the late '90s.
Okay.
So I mean, and it's really interesting. You can see that this is a very small backwater community in East Texas. This is not like we're just 20 minutes from Houston. We're an hour from anything. And
Okay.
I mean, they're still using payphones and they're still doing and doing like call trees to figure out where someone is because almost no one has cell phones. I mean, and it's the rate of technological change allows us to like date things by what type of phone you use.
Yeah.
And I just think it's amazing and crazy and whatever. But so uh a woman who was married to the local pastor, her mother dies and she's not taking it very well at all. And at this point, she has a teenage daughter and a teenage son, but there was a problem when the son was being born. So he's developmentally off. So as she said, he'll be my
Okay.
baby for his whole life, which is a great way to think about that type of situation.
Sure.
Um, and for some reason, she can't get over her mother's death. And I understand severe grief. I've had a couple instances of it with myself. I understand like everything just seems to disappear. You like just feel disconnected and all this stuff. But she goes to give it to Christ, as good Christians do. I'm a Jew, so I don't really know about that, but I watched it. um, and she comes back home and she goes, and she's setting something up with her sister and her husband. The pastor goes, "Wait, what are you doing?" She goes, "We're just going to a class, just going to learn some information on what adoption. We already have two kids. We're not making things like we're barely making ends meet now. What do you mean bring more kids?" And she said, "The Lord spoke to me and I'm just looking into it." And of course, the look on his face, just looking into it don't mean nothing. It means she's going to do it. And actually the
It's like
actual
when I say I want to go look at it, I see that there's like a litter of not to equate the two, but I'm like, I just want to look.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
never just looking. I've already decided. So I can sympathize on that level.
But so I mean, in an interview, the pastor said, "Well, my wife believed the Lord was speaking to her, and after a few weeks, it was get on board or get out. So I got on board."
Right.
But she goes to learn about the foster care system and adoptions and stuff. And a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the kids in the foster care system are not available for adoption. They're there because there's a hopefully temporary problem with their home life, with their environment, whatever it is. It's temporary, sure. And the state expects and hopes that these children will go back to where they belong.
Right.
But there's about like, I think they said like I don't remember, but there's a large percentage that these kids, there is no one to send them back to. The person that they were taken from was either so horrific that you wouldn't want any human being within a 10-foot-mile radius of them, or they're dead. And these kids are up for adoption. And the pastor and his wife went to the state and said, we want the kids no one will take. We want the hard ones. We want the ones that you cannot find a home for. And they took in these 2 boys that they needed an emergency. And the 2 boys came in, and her sister, who had gotten divorced and had a bad relationship, she adopts. And then literally, I mean, there's ups and downs, and there's trials and tribulations and challenges and all sorts of stuff. But by the end of it, 22 families in this tiny little freaking town adopted 77 of the worst kids in Texas. And when I say worst, I mean have the worst background,
not
the worst track
desirable.
record. Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's not the kids' fault that they were raised the way they were raised.
But not everybody's ready or able to take on the responsibility of those needs that go beyond the typical kid, trauma. Yeah. Holy moly, guacamole. Adam Rabeel gifting 20 memberships, turning everybody green.
Wow. Thank you.
Turning everyone green again. And we have to play his song. We have to play a song because he's on his yacht. He's doing this from his yacht. He's got the Lambo parked on top and the chopper and everything. So Adam Rabeel's tribute. Thank you so much, Adam.
Thank you so much.
Legend.
But I mean, and it's not like they say it's easy, and it's not like there weren't times when they were basically ready to give up and other stuff, but they came together as a community and helped each other out. So it wasn't just individual families dealing with this. It was, I mean, because this whole community comes together every Sunday. They're all at church. All your neighbors. They're always there. So
without spoilers, do they do a follow-up with the families and all that after, since it's
at the very end? At the very end.
Good. Because for something like that, I would expect some level of closure, because I'm a donkey on the edge.
At least one of those kids eventually went to college, got a degree in psychology, and went back to see what they to try to write a book about what they did right and about all the things that, I mean, it is not unreasonable to say that opening your home to a child in need, when you're barely getting your bills paid for your family as it exists already, there's nothing wrong with saying I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't feel like that's a good choice for the child as well as my family.
Sure.
And I don't have any problem with someone who honestly says that. But you watch these families, these people with so much less than the average American that most people think about, and what they were able to do with just love and faith and a little bit of help from the outside, but not much. It's mind-blowing. It's beautiful, and it's amazing, and it's heartrending, and it's a little, I mean, there's a bit of a guilt trip in there. At the very end, the pastor and his wife are sitting there going, if we can do it, every single one of y'all can too.
Uh-oh.
But no, they're nice about it, but it's just like, I mean, this is their calling. Their calling is to get out there and to say that there's a scene towards the end of the movie. It's not really a spoiler, I don't think, but the pastor calls up the one lady from the state that he's been working with the most. She's the main person who's their welfare person or
caseworker.
He says, the person, like, she's in charge of the foster kids, but she's also the one who goes and deals with the foster parents and stuff. She's the facilitator, the welfare aid and facilitator type person.
Okay.
But the whole point is, he calls her up. He goes, "We can actually there have been some movements going on in town, and we can actually take some more kids." And she said, "Fisher Martin, I can't give you any." What do you mean? There is not a child without a home within 100 miles of you in any
Ooh, that
direction.
gave me goosebumps down my legs.
Yeah. I mean, literally, they just kept doing it and doing it and doing it until there were no problem children left in all of East Texas.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
it's amazing. And I'm an only child, but I grew up with a lot of my cousins around all the time because my grandma had two sisters she was very close with. So then my mom's generation and all the aunts and uncles, because they're not actually aunts and uncles, they're like first cousins twice removed once. You know what I'm saying? It's not my
Sure.
mom's brother and sister, it's my mom's first cousins, but they were all very, very close. And my grandma helped
Okay.
raise a bunch of them. So my grandma raised my mom, my uncle, and then 3 of my mom's first cousins. So her nieces and nephews. And so our family was always really, really connected. And I felt like a lot of my younger cousins were siblings in a lot of ways. And I don't think I'd be as open and easy to get along with totally different types of people or going out and just feeling comfortable almost anywhere if I'd been a regular only child. Like, I didn't have the feeling of siblings around me all the time. And so, I mean, I'm watching this going like, yes, 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 big families, big families. Stop putting your kid, making one kid that sits in front of the computer screen or the iPad all day. That's bad, 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 bad. Let's have lots of kids and get them outside and playing. Well, at least that's what I got from the movie at the end, I guess. I've kind of been rambling, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all good. We haven't caught up in a while. My arms are floating. Weird. Yeah, I haven't been to a theater in a long time. It's been a bit.
It's a habit that they broke with COVID, that it's going to be so hard to get. I mean, a bunch of the theaters are going to go under. There's just no there's and I don't understand why they like movies go into a theater, they don't make as much money as they wanted on opening day, and then they're out of the theater in 2 weeks. Like, well, give it a month. I mean, let people go
Give
see
people a chance.
and yeah, like let people go, oh, well, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. Like, give it a chance to actually make some money. I don't understand why they all go straight to streaming like that. I don't understand half the decisions made by Hollywood and the studios these days. So
See, oh, how's that? You hit on Bach.
I'm sorry, I don't actually remember being hit on, but yes, I am a real girl.
She's real. She's a real girl. So today's episode that we are reviewing or revisiting is The Chase. And you have talked about this one or, made references to it. And there was my friend Brian Grotner, he's also made references to The Chase. So it didn't really I hadn't really remembered it as much. So I rewatched it a week ago and then I rewatched it again today. But yeah, there's some little gems in there. So
Yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite episodes for all of Trek combined.
that's
Like,
amazing.
it's just great.
So what I thought was funny about the very beginning of this episode was, he gives his captain's log, stardate 467331.5. We're in the midst of the nebula stellar nursery. Our 3-week mission is on routine analysis of several dozen protostars in various stages of development. So it goes through the normal thing. And then immediately after, I've completed the spectral evaluation of the outer shell. Our survey is complete. So he gives the spiel of why they're there. First scene is, we're done here.
We're done.
I just thought it was kind of funny. Did you have any? Are you just gonna chime in along the way?
I was just gonna go along as you go.
All right. But first off, I thought that was just a funny way to start the episode. And then Riker calls him to the observation lounge, and it's really mysteriously dark in there where it's normally super fluorescently light, bright lights. And Picard sees this statue on the table, and he's like, "Oh my God." OMG, yeah, right. And then there's this mysterious voice of an elderly man in the background, obviously, old man here, Riker here. saying so then you can identify this object, Mr. Picard. So we find out that this was a professor of his, studied, or he's an expert in archaeological finds and that.
Xenoarchaeology, looking at the past.
Xenoarchaeology.
Yeah, looking at the past histories of other species. Like it's anthropology on this just galactic level. If you're someone who likes anthropology and archaeology, like.
So he surprises him, but he's come there on with reason, right? Like it seems a little sussy. It's not just to pop in, how you doing? I was in the neighborhood, but he does actually say I was in the neighborhood, right?
Which ends up being a little bit important later on.
Yes. So we gather here that Picard used to be his student. He keeps calling him Mister because that's how he had known him before he was a Starfleet captain and all that.
Yeah. Back in the battle days when he was getting drunk and fighting Nausicaans.
Oh, yeah. So it's just a warm welcome of an intro. This is before the credits start rolling and all that. And then they come back to, after the intro for the show, comes back to the observation deck. And Picard is giving a little, he's amazed that this thing exists because he never thought he would see a Kurlan Nice Fifth Dynasty.
Oh, I have no idea how to say that correctly.
But he's showing that he has knowledge of what this artifact is, and he's really excited about it. He gets kudos from his professor. And the relevance to this, comes about later in the show. But it's mysterious. So the Kurlan civilization believed that an individual was a community of individuals. Inside of us, there are many voices in which, with its own desires, its own style, its own view of the world. The Kurlan civilization died out thousands of years ago. It's extraordinary. Oh my God. It is an extraordinarily refined rare to find and figuring intact. I need to wear glasses. I can't do contacts. So bright lights, reading, words are hard. This is an incredible find. And so the professor says, it's yours. And he's like, I can't accept the gift. Or how do I accept a gift like this? And he's like, graciously, thank you.
And actually, it's really funny, the idea of there being multiple versions of yourself inside yourself actually shows up in Trek on different levels. And there's the episode, there's a deaf mute who's renowned throughout the galaxy for creating peace deals and these amazing things. And he has a chorus. Like, he literally has these three people who are with him all the time. Yes. One's female, two are male. One is the male intellectual side. The other is the passion and love's voice. And then the last one, the female, is like emotions or something. And it was just so interesting because it's literally like he has three different beings speaking for him.
And they're all like empaths tuned in.
They're all connected to his. Yeah, they get connected when they're young or something.
Relationship with Diana, or doesn't he try to? Is that a different episode?
No, that episode that he likes Deanna and he's interested, but when he goes to have dinner with her or they go on the date, the only voice that comes with him is the kind of sexy, masculine, passionate one. The other two voices, I don't think they even came with him.
I'm bringing Chad to the date because I have expectations. I want stuff to happen tonight.
And on top of that, she's trying to speak to him, but this guy keeps speaking for him because, of course, he's deaf mute. And even Deanna, who deals with all these different types of interactions and interpersonal relationships, is like, who am I talking to? Like, when I say something to you and he speaks for you, is he saying exactly what you would say, or is he saying how he feels? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's tricky. Is it an interpretation of what he's getting, or is it?
Yeah, like she doesn't even know where. Even with her sense of her empath sense, she's still confused by the whole thing. So imagine someone who's not an empath who's just dealing with somebody who's got three people who speak for them. I mean, crazy.
Yeah, that'd be tricky. But yeah, so the concept exists elsewhere in the Star Trek lore. I have comments on something else, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
I would get ahead of myself. So it's just setting the stage for, oh, you know, actually, I'm on an expedition. And he's like trying to like stoke his interest, right?
Oh
He's
yeah.
trying to seduce him a little bit,
Oh yeah.
unexplored historical territory. And I intend to take you with me. That's actually why I'm here, not to drop off a gift, not to say hi because I was in the neighborhood. And he's letting him know he's made such a profound discovery, the implications that its implications that what? That silence seemed the wisest course. This work has occupied my every waking thought, and it's a true upon my dreams. It's become my life. When finished, I announce my findings. It will be heard halfway across the galaxy. So it's a kind of a big deal that he's working on, but he's being really mysterious. Picard's asking him questions about it. He's like, "No, that comes with the tax. You got to agree to come with me before you get the details." And he's like, "For how long?" And it's like, 3 months, maybe a year. Who knows? It's like, dude, I kind of have a lot of responsibilities here.
Yeah.
Just a few.
Just a
Just a
bit.
few. But the dream not of today is
Mm-hmm.
a phrase that is used between those two. That
Mm-hmm.
was a reference from back when he was studying under him, right? Or
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah,
the
the idea that he almost didn't become a Starfleet captain, he really did almost become a xenoarchaeologist, is it's kind of crazy.
and it was a difficult decision because he was really
Oh yeah,
interested in.
yeah,
But and I kind of skipped ahead here, but he talks to was it Deanna? Or no, it was Beverly. He talks to
yeah.
Beverly
And
and he's
he
like,
talks to
wow,
Crusher, I believe.
that's a really tough decision for you. But ultimately he's like, no, I can't do it. And
Yeah,
this guy's like, Professor Galen says, it's a chance of a lifetime. It's a massive discovery. Um, don't make the same mistake twice. And then Picard's getting a little sassy. He's like, are you saying my choice to join Starfleet was a mistake? So
I mean,
that's a little bit of
he
a
is only commanding the flagship of the entire Federation. I mean, it's not that big a deal.
R2 says, all the best creators are on at silly times in the morning for us Brits. Good morning, R2.
Morning.
Oh,
Sorry.
is it 4:30 for you? Holy moly. Replay crew is always an acceptable option.
Yes, yes, please.
And Lavistra, hey Tiny. Hi Moxie. I hit the like on my way out. Have fun. Well, goodbye. I missed you. So there's a little bit of a little sassy exchange between these two
Yeah,
old pals who the professor was, as Picard says later on, that he was like a father figure to him, even though he had his
yeah.
own father. He was also a father figure
Well,
for him. So
and
he
Picard had issues with his father, and his father didn't want him to actually join Starfleet either, if I remember correctly. So you got you got the real father who's not there anymore, who didn't want him to join Starfleet, and then you got the surrogate father who didn't want him to join Starfleet, at least not in this way. And it's like, hey guys, I'm the captain of the flagship. I did a good job, you know? Like, can you be proud of me instead of telling
be
me I should
proud
have
of
done
me,
all
please. Right? Oh, good, great. So this is funny to me because Professor Galen's like, all right, well, I'm out. I guess I don't have any other reason to be here. Meanwhile, he was going to stay for a couple of days as a guest, right? But
Mhm.
he's all pissed off. He's like, bye, Felicia. Like, fine then. Don't come with me. I'm out.
Yeah.
The two best justices that are streaming. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. But there is
And justice.
also,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna say there's also for Picard, as much as Professor Galen is still his senior,
Mhm.
Picard's not a young man anymore. Like the idea of like being talked to like you're still someone's TA, I get the adding some snark in at the end because like seriously.
I mean, I have family friends that have known me since I was little, and I didn't know them as an adult. And then when I see them again, like my
Yeah,
family has them visiting or whatever, they still try to talk to me like I'm 5. Or like because they knew me when I was a little person, they get to
yeah,
treat me or talk to me a certain way. It's like, I'm turning 40. Thank you. Like my mom does it, and that's one thing. But like friends of the family that think they
yeah,
know who you are, it's like, dude, I haven't seen you in 25 years. Stop it.
yeah.
But yeah, the whole talking down to him, talking to him like he's still his student, and the whole mister, and he corrects himself and says, sorry, Captain. But Picard's like, it's okay, Mister, it's just fine. So there is some of that,
Yeah.
he's still hung up on from back in the
I
day
still
for
have
sure.
great respect for you, but don't treat me like I'm 20 years old.
And as soon as Professor Galen leaves, he storms off.
Yeah.
Pretty much as soon as he leaves, they get a distress call, and he says he's being boarded. It's like, really,
Seriously?
really, and it's weird because his shuttle is, caught in the tractor beam of a Uridian destroyer, and the transporter can't penetrate it. What's weird to me was that was it once they oh please, I'm getting ahead of myself. So fire on the Uridian destroyer from Enterprise, right?
Yep.
Zap you. And oh, I think my chat bubbles are messed up. So they zap it
Mhm.
and it explodes,
It wasn't
right?
supposed to.
And Worf was the one that said that phaser blast was not powerful enough to destroy that ship. Did they? I mean, I
Yeah, like
just
I think
watched
the
it
whole
again
point is
today.
they were aiming for the tractor beam, like where it comes from, and it was a lower level pulse. It wasn't supposed. It shouldn't have destroyed the ship. It should have just barely damaged the tractor beam assembly so that the shuttle could get free. Um, I don't remember what they finally figured out it was, but I think it was basically they had a whole bunch of unstable stuff on the ship because they're just they're not really a part of the race. They were just
Hmm.
there to get information for the people who are a part of the race or the chase or whatever.
Could it
Um,
could it have possibly been like a sabotage situation? Because
that's also a
some of that,
possibility.
but they never
I mean,
really confirm it
everyone.
in the show.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I don't really remember that. And it's not like every single person by the end of this who are involved aren't all keeping secrets.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, my slides are out of order. Anyway, return
No
phaser
worries.
fire, disable their offensive systems, and then yeah, I have an extra slide in there. That phaser blast wasn't powerful enough to destroy the ship, so oopsie doopsie. But they were able to transport Doctor Professor Galen back. Not looking so good. He took the disruptor hit point blank. He flatlines. But before he does, he says, Jean-Luc, I was too harsh. Right? So sends Picard into this whole like whirlwind of
Guilt trip.
emotions, and he's yes. So funny thing. I was doing the slides, but I used the one from the last episode as a template. So I had all the old chat bubbles, and it was it was lols bubbles.
Oh,
And the bubble that just popped up over this Dr. or Professor Galen, it
yeah.
said something about being gender fluid or gender neutral or something. Or it cracked me up today. I was thinking, anyway, guess you had to be there. But
No, it's funny. I
that's
get it.
that's the thing when you like use a template from a previous thing, you get all out of context commentary. It's great. It was I was entertained.
I'm glad.
So guilt trip happening, and he's, you know, feeling a whole bunch of ways about it. Like he's got to either take up the mantle or just
Yeah.
figure out what he was doing, because he was so mysterious about it. He wanted to continue his work, perhaps as a tribute, or just it bothered him that it wasn't completed.
Hmm.
Like that whole gotta please Papa kind of thing. So Jordy, in the observation lounge, he shares that the Uridians, is it Uridians?
I think
I
it's
think it was.
Iridians. Yeah.
They were trying to download stuff off of the professor's computer before, and he was trying to protect them and like actively secure them during the boarding. But they were able to partially reconstruct the shuttle's computers, so they have some of the files, but they're missing data.
Yeah.
Uh, and so Picard looks like your little character down there is talking. The Uridians are information dealers, and they've been delivering. So there's blocks of numbers that they were able to retrieve,
Hmm.
but they don't know what it means. That they've ran it through the system. They can't find any patterns or any significance to those number blocks.
Hmm.
But they were able to figure out that Professor Galen visited an unexplored star system, Rua 4. Oh yeah, they're supposed to be going to a conference. they're late.
Yeah.
Picard says, screw it. We're doing this now.
Yeah. We went from boring but important, looking at the protostars getting born, and now we're supposed to go to a random conference. No. I'm going to go do this fun thing instead.
We're going on an adventure instead. We're going to do that. So they're like, screw that. Whatever. Rua 4 is a class M planet. 67% of its surface is covered with water. Its landmass contains multiple animal species, including a genus of proto-hominids. There's nothing to indicate former occupancy by even a primitive culture. So why was a xenoarchaeologist interested in this planet? Or
Exactly.
Intrigue. It feels like there's a long windup for this episode.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm sorry for everyone watching.
Yeah,
Me telling you about it probably makes it feel longer.
Yeah, it does definitely have, but I think actually it works in the end. Like all that wind up really makes the end kind of pay off, personally.
So again, Riker's like, yeah, we're already late to the conference. There doesn't seem to be much over there. It's going to be a waste of time. But Picard's like, nope, we'll proceed to Andrea 8. We're going to do this thing anyway. So that's where he was going. So now it's become this big mystery and a puzzle to figure out what was Professor Galen doing and why did he want to go there and why did he get boarded and what are these number blocks? What is happening?
Yeah. How to do a mystery box right.
Have you ever done any mystery boxes like with a group of people? The whodunits?
No. Nope.
I did one time. It was fun. Everyone got into character, put on some accents and
Fun.
really worked it. So it was a fun group.
That's cool.
Not a fun group to play like competitive games with though. That family is just like they're really aggressive when it comes to winning. So, but the mystery box was fun. Everyone played along. All right, so he was on his way there when he was killed. So there's got to be some connection between the two. They get there, and some sort of plasma reaction is consuming the lower atmosphere, destroying everything on the planet's surface. Can't stop it. Maybe the number blocks has something to do with organic matter. So Data was going to narrow the search parameters to the biological database to increase the chance to see if it increases the chances of the computer finding a match. But the graphic was pretty cool. It was just, imploding and terrible. But
yeah, I mean, kill off an entire planet just because you want to cover your tracks.
Right. And we don't even know why yet. We don't know what caused the plasma reaction on the surface or anything. We don't know who's involved. But when you find out, you're like, well, that's pretty shitty. Like,
seriously.
So competitive. So what they were able to find, so the computer was able to run the number of blocks through, let's see, the number of blocks are mathematical representations of fragments of DNA. So Crusher interprets that or determines that it's from 19 different worlds. They all have a similar protein configuration and may even be compatible chemically. And he's like, wait a second, there shouldn't be any compatibility. So,
yeah.
That explodes, right? And I know there's a lot of text, but I just put it on here. If you want to read it, you can read it, but I'm just going to give the gist. So they're talking about the DNA patterns that they were able to, extrapolate. It must have been incorporated in the earliest life forms of all of these planets, those 19 planets, some 4 billion years ago. And scattering the genetic material into the primordial soup of at least 19 different planets. It reminds me, and this is what I was thinking about earlier, but I wanted to wait. It reminds me of the engineers in Ridley Scott's Prometheus movie.
I didn't actually see it. I didn't see it.
Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but similar premise. So you have these beings that spread human DNA strands. So like all over the galaxy or the universe, whatever. But what happens is they evolve differently depending on the planet, like the creatures that come out of those core,
Mm-hmm.
what is it? The code, right?
Oh yeah,
They
yeah.
all evolve differently.
Yeah.
Genetic code.
It's the basic building block for to create more complex life, but it in itself is very simple.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of unknowns as far as the engineers in that universe, but it
Gotcha.
kind of gives me that vibe. So I don't know if Ridley Scott had written that type of character before or after seeing Star Trek, but it seems like a fairly logical thing to conclude, right? So
Yeah. I mean, what? Like, I mean, uh, Gene Roddenberry always had the problem with how do you explain, even just in your own mind, why almost every alien species you meet is a bipedal, humanoid style
mhm.
sentient being.
2 arms, 2 legs, head, mouth, usually 2 eyeballs. Like,
Generally, one head.
generally, yes.
But I mean, it's
They
like
just
that.
have like
The
differences
episode.
in noses, nose bridges, or weird eyebrows or foreheads, but they all kind of look the same-ish.
But remember, there's an episode where something goes wrong and everybody starts to de-evolve.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that one was
yeah.
a weird one.
Klingons are part reptile, and Deanna's I'm blanking on her species. Deanna, she's half human, half Beta Z. The Betazoids are
Beta
basically like,
Z.
yeah, the
Yes.
Beta Zs are like dolphins,
Yeah, she's
and
in a pool, like
it's
a
just
hot tub or
interesting.
something, right?
Yeah, yeah. She kept trying to turn the temperature up hotter and hotter, and then she wanted to get in the water, and she started to like turn slightly gray or blue or something, like a dolphin.
That was a weird episode.
That was such a weird episode, but it was kind of fun in the sense that you look at, yes, all of these alien species exist in a way that we can interact with them that makes sense, but why? Especially when we have
Mhm.
evolved from all these other things. And then we have this.
Yeah, major discovery for them, if that hypothesis turns out true, which it does. I mean, we spoil shows here because these are like 40 years old, so if you haven't seen it, it's on you. So we try to go along with as the show progresses in commentary, but if we jump ahead and like make some stuff, sorry, oopsie. Go watch it. Get the full context.
Exactly.
So again, he asked the professor why he went all the way to Curl. I was in the neighborhood, but what was he doing there? What's going on? Why? Why? So that's a clue, right?
Hmm.
Maybe we should go there. Set the course for Lauren 3, Max Warp. Because Crush was like, duh, maybe he was collecting more samples. If
Hmm.
the direction they're going is right. I mean, it's not really that far when you're in a starship to like travel
Yeah.
to all these other places. Like, I don't even know how long this is actually supposed to take place over a series of how many days.
Yeah. Like, every once in a while, like Trek does these weird time things that don't quite make sense. I generally just try to ignore. Yes,
That's
they're
right.
coming. They're
Cardassians were on the
coming,
bus.
Brandon. They're coming.
So they run into a couple
Other
Cardassian ships,
adventurers.
other adventurers. They're all on scientific missions.
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, your little expedition can wait. We're busy. We're doing something. Scram, right?
Yeah. We're
And
more
then
important.
the Klingon vessel shows up. So they all, come onto the Enterprise because Picard says, I think we're all looking for something. There's
We're
no
all looking
reason
for
why you
the same
all should be
thing.
here. We're all looking for the same thing. But they're under the impression it's an unlimited power source. No, it's a weapon, so they're all after whatever they think it is
Yeah.
before anyone else can get to
It's
it.
the
So
map
they're
to El
very,
Dorado, space version.
yes, yes, absolutely. So he's giving them like the side eye, trying to talk to him like, okay, we all have pieces of the puzzle. What if we work together to get further along?
Hmm.
They
Especially
agree.
since somebody's been going around blowing up planets so that people can't get any of the genetic information.
So,
That's so dick.
So both of them, though, I mean, they are what they are, Cardassian Klingon. They are true to
Yeah.
themselves as far as, we're going to agree, but also we've got our fingers crossed behind our back.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. He's not stupid. He knows who he's dealing with. So
Mhm.
cautionary alliance. So the pieces of this puzzle are scattered all over the place. Trying to set the computer to analyze the distribution of the pieces that they have, correcting for changes in star configurations over 4 billion years.
Yeah, the stars are
Kind
gonna
of a
move
big
again.
ask. Kind of a big ask. Computers like, bruh. And so while they're analyzing and processing data and stuff's happening in the lab or whatever,
Yeah.
this exchange was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Klingon's like, yeah, I heard you're pretty tough. Are you familiar with is it Bat Cool challenge?
That's
It's basically
cool.
like what,
Yeah.
arm wrestling?
Basically, yeah. It's a
And he
slightly different form of arm wrestling, but that's what it is. And
and he ends up like,
he's so
oh, go ahead.
cliche. Like, I'm gonna take out the android, and then I wasn't ready yet.
At the same time. So he gets like thrown by Data. He's like,
He
yeah,
wasn't even paying attention.
that was awesome.
Yes.
So I just thought that was a funny little like
Oh
comedic
yeah, no, that was
comedy
a great
relief situation.
that was a great little side scene. And Data's just like, all right, I'll give you like 0.000% of my attention while I'm doing this other stuff that I actually care about. I'm gonna this much of my attention while I throw you around a little bit.
Bill Dozer, you should watch Star Trek Next Gen. You
Absolutely.
watched
Next Gen is
you
so
watched an
good.
episode of two when you were little, and then Stargate SG-1 came out. It's worth the rewatch, especially with the perspective of the last 40 years of
Yeah.
things that have happened, and it holds up. It really does.
Yeah.
My finger points. So they determined that the missing DNA fragment should be in the Ram-Izad system. And immediately the Klingons and the Cardassians are like, peace out.
Yeah, so much for us being partners.
Beam me up. So yeah, that alliance went out because they want to get there first. Oh, and also let's disable the ship on our way
Yeah.
out because we're on our way. Dicks. They're such dicks.
Seriously.
So they end up finding an area of this planet because it's mostly uninhabitable, right?
Yeah.
But they
Basically,
do
the the star system had 2 planets. Neither of them are habitable, but one of them was habitable a long time ago, to some degree. So they're
like
looking for any
4 billion years
remnants.
ago, maybe.
So they're looking for any
How long?
remnants from the oceans.
Yeah, they find what was an ancient ocean. It once supported life. So maybe there's some material that they could collect there.
Mhm.
Maybe. So they head down to this fossilized seabed. Klingons there, Cardassians are there. Klingon has the audacity to call the
Seriously.
Cardassians a dishonorable Topa.
Yeah.
How
After
dare
trying
they?
to download a system that was gonna no.
But I thought that the dishonorable Topa, it's been memed before. It's
Oh
so
yeah.
funny because so Topa was the son of one of the houses on Klingon,
Mhm.
and he was dishonorable. So it's the name of that guy's son is used as a slur for people. So anyway, I just thought it was funny.
It is. Absolutely.
The Romulans show up.
Yeah, because they've been there the whole freaking time in their stupid cloak, just sitting around waiting for everyone else to do all the hard work.
Hats. They're just following. Let's see. And then they're like, "How about we compromise? We don't kill you, and you give us the code. Good deal." And so they're negotiating back and forth. The Cardassian, the Klingon, and the Romulans.
The Klingon's
Meanwhile,
not really. He's not really. He's just sitting there yelling things at the Cardassians and Romulans, like just randomly shouting shit.
true to Klingon form.
Yep.
So those 3 groups are going at it back and forth, throwing slurs and whatever.
And these two are just stepping back farther and farther. Can we just do this without them? Yeah, I think maybe we
Hey,
can.
we get some DNA out of this. Sneak away, toss it in the little tricorder. And wild legal vices. Hello, sir. Yes, you got me live. This never happens. I'm always watching your streams in the morning. I'm lurking these days because I don't have time to chat because I'm usually late for work. But good to see you and thank you. Yay. So yeah, they're like, oh, while they're distracted, let's do that. And they put the little DNA bits in the tricorder. It does its little tricorder magic, and a holographic image presents this beautiful, beautiful creature.
Well, I thought it was really interesting. I thought she looked a lot like what in Deep Space Nine they end up doing with the mesomorphs. Like when
Yes.
this idea that you are a bipedal, bi-armed, single-headed being, but that all of the details that make us our individual selves haven't been created yet. Those were the gifts of our planets we were born on. They gave us the ability to become a bipedal being, but our planets created us as we are.
With specific characteristics.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I thought
it's just not the prettiest.
She was so sad.
Very sad eyes.
Yeah, I mean, this. Do you want to finish? Or
go.
So this being appears before them, and looks a little bit like everybody else. And they said that their species evolved, became sentient, even made it to the stars, and they traveled all over. There you go. There's the speech. Life evolved on my planet before all others in this part of the galaxy. We left our world, explored the stars, and found none like ourselves. Our civilization thrived for ages, but what is the life of one race compared to the vast stretches of cosmic time? We knew that one day we would be gone, that nothing of us would survive, so we left you. Our scientists seeded the primordial oceans of many worlds where life was in its infancy. The seed codes directed your evolution towards a physical form resembling ours. This body you see before you, which is of course shaped as yours is shaped, for you are the end result. The seed codes also contain this message, which were scattered in the fragments on many different worlds. It was our hope that you would have to come together in fellowship and companionship to hear this message. And if you can see me and hear me, our hope has been fulfilled. You are a monument, not to our greatness, but to our existence. That was our wish, that you too would know life and would keep alive our memory. There is something of us in each of you, and so something of you in each other. Remember us. Oh, God, I love that speech. And of course,
so good.
Immediately.
And then Legal Vices has to ruin it with the original race of Captain Kirkian spewing their DNA across the galaxy. Oh no.
Yo, I'm sorry. I just assumed that Starfleet like does a like birth control shot on the men as well as the women, because there'd be a lot of little Kirks running around, and as far as we know, there were none.
As far as we know.
As far as we know.
Oh my gosh. It's a great speech.
It's a great speech, and it's a beautiful thought on multiple different levels. And this idea that it's like you come together in fellowship, and it's like not so much.
The way we got here, we did work together.
Technically. And how many planets were destroyed in the process of getting this message?
Yeah. But they got there, so they're, yeah, that was their wish. So
I believe the first one is the Cardassian that says that I have anything in common with this Klingon. I don't think so. And she walks away. And the Klingon says something obnoxious and walks away. And the Romulan turns to walk away. And then he turns back. He says, perhaps we're not so different after all. And then he walks. And then I'm like, it was like that one little turn that like, because you're especially when you're dealing with
oh no, we're getting our cheekies clapped right now by the bigot army. Hail bigot army.
Hail bigot army.
No.
I've never actually been raided before. I don't know.
These are hypnotics.
No. These are hypnotics raiders.
Hypnotics raiders. My cheekies weren't ready. Wow, you went late tonight. Good grief. Hypnotic just hit over 50K subscribers
Oh,
on
wow.
YouTube.
Congratulations,
Isn't
Hypnotic.
that
That's
amazing?
great.
So yeah, hey,
I guess that's a good reason for a raid.
or in longer or extended streams. So yeah, no wonder. Oh, and Nerd Wars, thank you so much for the gifted membership.
Woohoo!
Ah, Big Army Raid, Monkey Man. Look at you. We're like at the end of the Star Trek episode, but happy to have you here. Thank you so much. You guys are the best.
Yes, thank you
Aw.
everyone for showing up.
And Cassie, hello. Cassie's gonna come on my show in I think a couple of weeks, so
Cool.
we'll have a great time. Looking forward to it. Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy. I can't keep up. I can't keep up. There's too many. But thank you. I love you. Yeah. Awesome speech. Again, you haven't seen Prometheus, but it's a similar concept of spreading your Kirkian DNA all over the galaxy. Oh no. But it is a beautiful sentiment, and I appreciate the episode. But yeah, like you had referenced the chase a couple of times before, and I was like, I don't remember. Oh, okay. There
Yeah.
we go. It's a great episode.
Well, I mean, in my real life.
Stormbringer.
Oh,
Look at
wow.
you.
Wow.
Thank you.
10 memberships. Thank you, Stormbringer. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Stormbringer is a legend. He's been on one tonight. Good grief. I think he gifted over like 100 memberships on Hypnotic's channel tonight.
Oh, wow.
He's a madman, and we love him.
Yes.
Got Shadow
Continue to
Raven
make
Studios. Hi. There's so many of you. I see you. I can't click that fast and maintain my composure. Woo!
So,
man.
like, in the real world, before I got sick, I actually was working on a double major, double minor for history, philosophy, and anthropology and religious studies. I'm not really that big of an overachiever. I just realized I technically had a declared history major, but all the stuff I wanted to do was ancient history, which turned out you had to go through the anthropology department.
Ah,
So, and then the last 2 years I was in school, I was literally just staying in school to keep my insurance because I was so sick at that point. I'd had to withdraw 3 times already. But the point being that I love anthropology, I love archaeology, and I love that Trek gives us this ability, to do that on a whole nother scale. We know how all the different not all the different, but most of the different cultures on Earth evolved and how they had their mythologies and the way they looked at things. How did these other beings that are so like us and yet so different, how did they evolve? What are their cultures? Like, it's one of the things that I love about Trek. And it's one of the things that Roddenberry really cared about. Like, he supposedly had like a Trek Bible, and it had like lists of all these different alien species, some that we never even saw, I think, if I remember correctly. And just, he knew about them. He knew about their histories. He'd really created everything that Roddenberry put on screen to some degree or another was a real being. Do you know what I mean? Like, they had thoughts and backgrounds and regrets. And I guess I'm going stupidly overboard on this because we don't get that anymore. So many of the characters, we were not supposed to talk about the Acolyte, but but these characters, so many of them, especially the leading characters, but even the side characters, you couldn't walk, like, I couldn't go into a bar with you and say, if Osha from the Acolyte walked into this bar, what do you think they would do? Or if you hit on Admiral Thrawn, what do you think he would do? Like, their characters,
very well developed characters that, yeah.
I mean, I bet you if I asked a real Star Wars lorehead, like, what would Admiral Thrawn do if you hit on him? He could give you a 2-hour fucking speech on exactly what Admiral Thrawn would do, because we've got books and books and books telling us about Admiral Thrawn's personality and his history and his motivations. Except for being miserable, I haven't understood a single motivation of any Disney Star Wars character that has existed. Like,
It's very shallow
yeah,
pool.
there's nothing there. I mean, I don't care if you're black, white, Asian, Hispanic, purple, or polka dotted. Just give me some depth of character.
Everything's so cheap.
I
And
mean,
it doesn't have to do with money. It doesn't have to do with production costs, as we were talking about earlier.
yeah, it's production
Like
values or
production
so.
value. What are you
Yeah,
putting out? Like instead of just like, oh, it's got the name on it. It's good to go. It's gonna make $1 billion just because it's part of the franchise, right?
yeah, no,
So I mean, there's no care with what the production studios and Hollywood's putting out because they're like, well, we know it's gonna make X amount anyway. You know,
except it doesn't because it sucks, and then we're all
exactly.
bigots.
That's because you're a racist bigot if you don't like it. It wasn't made for you.
Yeah,
But
but
also,
I
why didn't you
really
watch it?
I hated Obi-Wan, and that was a white male, technically straight white male. He sucked. It was awful. He They destroyed every aspect of his character that we knew about beforehand. So now you have a character who is multifaceted and has a diverse background because we learned that in the other movies and in the Clone Wars and all that. But now suddenly he's miserable and doesn't believe in anything. And I'm just like, no, if you have a character with depth and then you turn him completely against his character, you've taken all that depth and thrown it away.
Into the garbage can. Or they just oh, that's not canon anymore. So everything that
Yeah.
this character had very thorough storylines and character builds and all the things. Oh, no, that's not Star Wars anymore. This is your new package product. Consume.
Yeah. The extended universe doesn't exist. It's no longer canon, but we're going to steal pieces from it left, right, and center so that we can get some attention from those who do love the lore and make them think that we're going to give them these characters that they have spent years waiting for, but of course we're not.
Yeah, they're all just
Which is,
hate watching now.
yeah. I mean,
Dying
literally,
a little more inside with each episode. Yeah, it's
I
tough.
just don't understand how someone can see what they've produced and think it's good. Like, Leslie Headland supposedly claimed that this is the greatest piece of art she's ever made. And I'm like, I got a 5-year-old that can draw you a picture of your house and your family that's better than this when it
Tell
comes to
you a
art.
story about a
Like,
2D image, tell you a much better story about this 2D image than you've told us in this entire series.
exactly.
Bullshit.
I mean, I understand that everyone thinks that their baby is gorgeous, but
It's not true.
it's not necessarily true. I think all babies are adorable, but not all babies are as cute as other babies. It's a fact. Actually, it was really funny.
Babies are precious. Babies are precious. I love babies.
Babies are precious, and I very much wish I could have one. But it was funny when I was born. I was just shy what the average was. I was just smaller than the average, and my mom had a lot of friends who'd also had babies around the same time period.
Yeah.
And they kept asking to hold me. And I was like, you have your own. Why? Is it like, because she's so tiny? Because I was so much smaller than everybody else who'd been born at the same time.
Aw.
So everyone was like, it's like she's younger. I'm like, no, just smaller. I've always been tiny.
Tiny but fierce. I'm still here. I'm just having technical problems with my camera. 1 second.
No worries. But I don't even remember what I was talking about. Go back to the Star Trek.
Oh, you were talking about the Acolyte, saying it was like the greatest show ever that my wife is in, and
which is why I compared it to Every Mother Loves Their Baby. Got it.
sure.
But I mean, an artist is supposed to be able to objectively see it when they have screwed up.
Sure.
And these people can't. And if you try to show, look, we're not trying to attack you personally. Well, a lot of people do at this point because they hate them. But originally, we weren't trying to attack you personally. We were attacking what you had done, what you created. And the fact that you can't separate yourself from your art. And more than that, you can't see when things have gone wrong. You're not.
But it's a new generation of creators and directors and producers and all that too, with the climate of Everyone gets a participation trophy.
Oh
No one
God,
can
yeah.
criticize you. And if they criticize you, it's because you're a woman, it's because you're Black, it's because of all these other things. It's not
Mhm.
because your content sucks. It doesn't
Yep.
mean it's not because your product is garbage. And shitting on the people that have been obsessed and dedicated fans for decades, well, they get to go, well, the majority of them are cis white males. So their opinion doesn't count. We're still validating our creation as beautiful and brave and groundbreaking for some reason. They think all of these little things that they're flooding new shows and new movies with is new. No, we
No.
already talked about this on other
Yeah.
shows that we've done together. As far as like the '90s were great. Star
Yeah.
Trek, they ticked all the boxes without shoving like
Yep.
certain agendas down your throat. It can be done. They're just like nope, boxes, boxes, boxes. Story, what's a story? Nah, that's not necessary. You know, product, consume.
Yeah. And I mean, and in some ways, actually, if I'm being honest, now that I think about it,
The Bigot King himself. Congratulations on 50K. That's
yes,
amazing.
congratulations, Hypnotic.
It's
We're really happy
awesome.
for you. And thank you for
You're
the
killing
raid.
it.
I've never experienced one before.
She's never had her cheekies clapped before. So big and Ari raid. Awesome.
um, but actually, I mean, I guess there's a lot of in Trek actually times when people have worked really hard on something and therefore demanded that whatever's needed to make it work is given to them.
Mhm.
Like um the twice you've got the planet, the ancient planet where that had the amazing shielding that the whole planet was shielded, but they
Mhm.
no longer produce any children because they were getting radiation poisoning from the machines that they
Yes.
didn't know how to maintain. And then there's the colony that only 7 members survived, so they started cloning themselves. And now the clones are starting to like generations and generations of cloning has caused all these other issues. So they want to steal
Sure.
DNA. First, they just wanted them to just donate the DNA, and Riker's like,
Sure.
no. And it's really funny because he
Yeah.
says one of me is unique, 2 of me is something else, and it's like, what? Well, there are 2 of you, dude. There's Thomas Riker. He exists. So that I
Mhm.
always found that particular scene very funny. Um,
Especially considering Riker, depending on how the DNA is distributed, I think, in
yeah,
some ways he's contributed to a lot of other species. But as
very
we mentioned,
possibly,
maybe
very possibly.
the whole Captain Kirk birth control theory.
Well, I it's oh god, yeah. Riker's so bad.
Oh no,
Um,
professional cheek clapper.
but there's also there's the group that Data has to get off. There's a planet that was part of a treaty negotiation with a really obnoxious species that seems to think that humans are basically insects. Um, and there was a ship that went off track and crash landed on this planet. And there's an entire small civilization down there that they've worked really hard. They built. There was no water, and they built the aqueduct. And like they're always talking about this fucking aqueduct. And Data's there to explain to
Aqueducts are
them.
amazing.
Well, Data's there to explain to them that the new owners of the planet are coming. They don't care what you've developed. They don't care how long you worked at it. They don't care how hard you worked at it. They are going to just wipe you off the planet. And they're like, we're going to stay and fight. It's like, you don't understand. They're not going to come down here from orbit. They're going to wipe you off the face of the planet. And they just keep arguing with him until finally he literally just picks up his face and he goes and he blows up the whole fucking the whole thing. And it was just like they're like, how can you? That's one idiot with a phaser. Do you not understand? We're talking about a giant spaceship with thousands of these fucking giant beings that think that humans are insects. Like they can't get past it. We worked hard for this. This is ours. Like, no, you worked hard for it, and that's great. And you have the right to be proud of it. You have the right to tell the stories, but you don't have the right to get yourselves and your kids killed because someone built a fucking aqueduct. You know, like, and just I think in a
I
lot
love
of
how
ways, Trek
passionate you
shows
are.
this.
I love your rants. They're great.
Well, Trek shows this in a way because it shows over and over and over again that people who put too much stock in their own visions end up failing in the long run, or they fail because you just can't. You have to be able to see outside for yourself. So I would say Trek specifically tells Leslie Headland that no, she's an idiot.
Yeah, and somebody mentioned in the comments a while back, there's been a lot of comments, I can't keep up, that they can't stand the new Star Trek, which oh, she has thoughts. She has thoughts.
Oh god, yeah. No,
Did you watch Picard at least?
I didn't. I watched most of the first season of Picard.
I
I was
skipped.
not super happy with it.
Which one was there? Were there 4 seasons?
There were 3.
3.
2
Okay,
sucked
so I
and 1
watched
was really good.
the first one. I skipped the second one because it was recommended by people that I trust their
Yeah.
opinions on.
The
Skip the
third
second
one
one.
the third one had some real Trek in it again, but there was still a lot of it that I did not enjoy personally.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that Discovery is a true abomination that could only have been created by demons in hell. I mean, I really, really hate Discovery and like almost every aspect of it. The only
STD.
thing that I liked at all is that I really enjoy whenever we stick our toes into the mirror universe and see the evil humans and the reverse of so many different characters. I think that's a lot of fun to watch and to play with and to theorize about, but it wasn't enough to save that freaking show. That made no sense. Like from the opening scene, none of it made any sense. And this whole we're gonna make the Klingons look 10 times weirder than like.
I didn't watch a single shred of it.
Oh god!
What did they do to the Klingons? Hold on, hold please.
Look up Star Trek Discovery Season 1 Klingons. They're not Klingons. They're like mutant versions of death of who killed
I need
Superman?
a picture. Give me a picture. Well, they tweaked. Oh, what the hell is that?
I know exactly when you found it.
Wait, hold please. No, because I was like, okay, I saw the movies with Chris Pine in it. I mean, they tweaked the Klingons, but what in tarnation is going on here? Oh, I'm not showing a tab. Hold please. That is not okay.
No, not okay.
Especially
considering how vain the Klingons were with their hair and stuff. The original Klingons, like
they look like bronze statues.
Yeah, it made no sense.
And yeah, the hair was like a big sort of like prideful thing, and what is that? Oh, they've got 4 nostrils too. Since when?
Think
or is that a hybrid or something?
That's a something else. That's not just a Klingon.
Oh.
I don't honestly. I've tried to block out most of it. I'll admit, it was not enjoyable.
That is
no,
they do
use a giant space tardigrade to break the laws of physics so that we don't have warp speed. We have instantaneous transmission by torturing a giant space tardigrade.
I am without words.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't there a whole drama? Was it with the one of the newer Star Trek animated series, or was it this series? Because there was this whole comic or story written by somebody that has to do with like space tardigrades.
Oh.
And Star Trek got sued because they basically took the entire plot from that guy.
That was probably that was Discovery. That was Discovery.
Probably Discovery. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember because there's an animated series. Is that Below Decks or?
Yeah, there's an animated series Below Decks, but that animated series tends to plug into the stuff that's going on in New Trek or connected to New Trek.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't watched a shred of that either. I'm so turned off by anything new where they're touching like my precious childhood memories or things that I hold dear. It's like, do I want to take the risk?
I normally love Chris Pine as an actor. Generally speaking, I think he's a pretty damn good actor. And he's pretty to look at. But
his head is abnormally large. Just saying.
Okay.
But it's like Funko Pop.
But
attractive. Sorry. Go.
What was I saying?
Sorry, Chris Pine, great actor, good looking.
Right,
Funko Pop.
right, right.
Go.
The thing that turned me off New Trek completely was the way they screwed up the Kobayashi Maru in the first movie, in the 2009 movie.
Fair. Yes.
Yeah, Soul
Fact.
Reaver. Wow. My brain is just
New Trek. Chris Pine.
yeah. So
Funko.
in
Good
the
looking.
original in the original Kobayashi, we find out, I think it's in The Search for Spock, where we find out what actually happened with the Kobayashi Maru. So one thing most people don't realize, because Kirk is kissing every single alien princess and damsel in distress he comes across, when he was in school, he was a nerd. He was a TA. They used to say, "Watch out for Lieutenant Kirk. He's the book walking books or something," because he'd have such a big pile of books you wouldn't see him. You just see his legs. And he researched. He knew what the Kobayashi Maru test was. Should I explain what it is, just in case people don't know?
Please.
Okay,
Just
so
in case.
one of the final exams at Starfleet Academy is called the Kobayashi Maru. Basically, it's supposed to show the teachers how you deal with a no-win situation. And Kirk's attitude is, I don't believe in no-win situations. And so he looked at what was the situation is. So you have your starship captain who's responded to a distress call. You show up, and there is a Klingon bird of prey or Klingon warbird ready to shoot you or shoot the ship that gave you the distress signal, which is a colony ship with a whole bunch of innocent civilians. Now, technically, what you want to do is drop your shields, get the civilians on board, and put your shields back up before the Klingons kill you. But there's no way to do that. The way it's designed specifically to have a no-win situation.
Right.
Kirk did all this research, and he learned what Klingons respect and what fear. And he went into the program for the test, and he wrote that James Tiberius Kirk was a renowned strategist and great battle fighter, whatever. I'm not remembering the linguistics correctly. But basically, just the only thing he changed in the whole program was just his name was known around the Alpha Quadrant. Like his name.
He edited his Wikipedia page so that when they looked him up.
He edited his Wikipedia page in the program that runs the test.
Okay.
And it's like the 7th time he's taken it or something, and he gets all of his friends to do it. He's like, come on, one more time. They're like, it's a no-win situation. Just give it up. He's like, just for once, just give me one more time. And he gives like some speech or something, but he gets everyone kind of psyched up, like, all right, we'll play one more time. And he tells transport to be on standby. He tells tactical to be ready to drop the shields. And he tells communications to hail the warbird. And they hail the warbird. He goes, I am Captain James Tiberius Kirk. And there's a pause. And he goes like, and then the colonists get footed in the, that 30 seconds of pause, because a Klingon warrior recognized the name of a great warrior. He stopped and he paused for a minute. And in that pause, Kirk was able to actually beat the unbeatable thing. And when asked about it,
that they built that in, though. The AI was built into it so that they would recognize that the computer would recognize names and places, doing all the background data and like formulating strategies against. It's a pretty multi-layered, intelligent idea.
But right? Supposedly like some of the instructors said, how can we give you a pass? He said, because I will make sure my name is that known. This test will be proven fact by my career. I will make this fact. And he was honored for it. When they remade it in 2009, he puts a virus into the system, sits back on his ass, and eats an apple while he wins.
Yeah, that's disrespectful.
You took something that was all about someone who truly understands learning your enemy, someone who truly understands dedication, someone who can inspire his friends, and his colleagues.
Mm-hmm.
This amazing scene, this amazing situation that shows us who Kirk is and how great Starfleet can be. And then you get Chris Pine sitting there eating his fucking apple. And it's like, you've taken everything out of this character that made him honorable and believable and
Someone that you would want as a captain
yes,
to
someone you would
lead
want to follow
people.
into battle or into adventure. I
Right.
would follow
Some
Kirk into
just
adventure.
douchebag.
Yeah.
Like cheating his way. He like in the JJ track because he was
Yeah.
caught cheating. He wasn't even supposed to go on the Enterprise. It was just
No,
kind of
he was
it
supposed to get
happened.
kicked out. He was supposed to get kicked out
Such a
because,
disrespect.
which is the original, when he technically cheats by putting in the information to the giving the information to the AI that James Tiberius Kirk is a great well-known star captain. That's technically a cheat. In his version, he was honored for it because it was thinking outside the box and it was proving that you truly do not believe in a no-win situation.
It was actually more of a 4D chess in Star Trek. I hate when 4D chess gets overused all the time, but we're talking Star Trek universe here, and it
They
actually
have
exists.
4D
So
chess that we've actually
they
seen him
have
play.
4D chess. And so that was one of those moves, right? It's not,
Yeah.
I mean, technically cheating, but not outright. I'm going to nuke this test
No,
with
it's
some
showing your
virus.
intelligence, your
Yeah.
initiative, your perseverance. I mean, just name off all the shuttles, all those positive adjectives and adverbs.
He got a commendation for
Yes,
original
that's what it
thinking.
was. Thank you. So it's like you've taken a character that has this amazing thing that he did that shows all of these facets of his character, and you threw it away.
He's just a douchebag man whore now.
Yep. And the irony that technically, while at the academy, Kirk was the nerd, and Picard was out getting in fights with Nausicaans.
Base.
I read someone posted that we see the captains the way they are because we see them next to their first officers, and next to Spock, anyone's gonna look like an Amorous Lech, and next to Riker, anyone's gonna look like a fucking Borgworm.
Sure. Until you see Picard in that robe a few too many times. His shiny little robe. Oh no, I'm not going to talk about lemons. Anyway, he was always a man, or yeah, he was, but at least he was an intelligent one who earned his place in the captaincy.
And he turns out he was not whoring around at the academy. He didn't do that till he got out to space.
Yeah, once he made it. He had his priorities in check. Focus on your career first.
Well, I mean, especially when it comes to Kirk, like there's an episode with the Troyans, like Helen of Troy type of thing. She's being a Troyan princess is being taken to be forced to marry a prince from another planet to stop the war that's been going on forever and ever between their planets. But Troyan women have a special pheromone in their tears. If a Troyan woman cries and the tears touch you, you will become devoted to them for the rest of your life. It is instant slavery. And she kisses Kirk and she cries on him. And he's able to withstand it because he says his true love protected him. Because his one true love is the Enterprise. And I was like, that's so cute.
That's cute.
Like all those women are just passing fancies. His love is the Enterprise.
R2 who just noticed. He loved the background. It's very early for you. I appreciate it.
It's really hard to find one that I sort of looked legitimate in.
You are the captain now.
Well, I figured my blanket or my big pillow looks kind of fur-like, and I'll just be like, Klingon. It's a Klingon seat covered in fur.
Let's see.
That was so much fun. I love that episode.
Which one are we going to do next time? You have one in mind, I think.
I have one that I've been wanting to do for a while. I'm just not 100% sure I want to do it next time because I want to really, really work on it. So I'll pick something else for next time, probably. Next time would be August, right?
Yes. The third Sunday.
Third
This
Sunday
is
in
a
August.
monthly show for anyone. There's a lot of people here for my channel, so for anyone who's watching who hasn't got the note, the memo, this is a monthly show that we do every third Sunday of the month. So we gab a lot. We talk about an episode. We crawl through it because I think a lot of you got here a little later, but we got through a TNG episode, and we don't go in any particular order. It's just ones that we like, classic episodes. Very important ones. We've done Measure of a Man, which is the data heavy episode of,
Do AI have
sentience.
rights?
Yes. Does AI have rights? Do AI beings have rights? Also, the next episode that we did was also a data episode about the right for reproduction for an android. So
For
this was
offspring.
a little bit of a change as far as like it wasn't so heavy handed. It was more fun. But yeah, we changed it up around here.
Yeah, we like to have fun. If anyone has a particular episode they'd like to hear us talk about, I'd be more than willing to take suggestions in the chat or on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, because everyone seems to call it something different these days.
Episode suggestions can either go in the comment section on the YouTube video or on Twitter. I am Surly Durly on Twitter, and my lovely co-host
won't be boxed.
Won't be boxed. I won't be boxed. Also known as Tiny But Fierce. And we are both Jessicas. So Jessica squared. Also, 84 baby. So we're of the same vintage, and we appreciate the classic amazingness of TOS and
we grew up in the best time for entertainment.
We did.
We really
Feel
did.
bad for the youngins.
Well, at least they have TCM.
There is TCM. Master Swagging's in the chat. Just took Jess away from me. And I would do it 10 times over. I'll do it again next month, third Sunday of the month. Are you currently guesting or appearing on any other places that if people want to find you?
Tuesdays and Saturdays, I am generally with MSK, which is why he said you stole me. Except I've never been with him on a Sunday, so I don't know why he's saying that. This Tuesday, I may not make it because it's one of those Tuesdays I have a ketamine IV, so I will hopefully be unconscious.
Okay.
Every Wednesday, I do Whining on Wednesday with the Common Nerd, and then we tend to end after Wrong Think's been on for about an hour or so. So I try to jump over Wrong Think afterwards.
Yeah, I was on Wrong Think last week, and you missed it that time. But
yeah, I took 2 weeks of like not doing almost any streaming at all. I just needed a break, some personal stuff.
It happens.
But oh, right. This Monday, if it all works out, we've been trying to do this for a month. This Monday.
Tomorrow Monday?
Tomorrow
Monday. Okay.
Tomorrow Monday. Tomorrow Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific, I think. Devil Made Me Do It is going to have a new show called Devil's Angels, kind of like Charlie's Angels, and it'll be me and Selena and green-haired anti-liberal, and we're going to talk about movies that either they're classics, but no one seems to watch anymore because they're like black and white or they're old or they're whatever, or they're movies that we think were gems that aren't really known so well in the zeitgeist and stuff. So we're going to be like doing our own little version of our personal TCMs.
So you're telling me the devil managed to create a show to where he surrounds himself with based women to talk about cool shit, and he gets to be the only boy.
Smart man.
Bravo. Well done. And R2Lite with a gifted membership. Thank you so much, you early bird.
Thank you. That's really cool. I love the gifted membership thing. The fact that anyone can feature, I guess is the word I'm looking for.
Which word was that? I think it cut out.
Gift memberships. I think that's just like a really cool feature. Like,
I mean, yeah.
Getting money is great, but if you're going to give money anyway, the fact that you also can help someone else is I just really think that's cool.
I mean, there's members only content. I haven't done anything new in the last few weeks, but I've done my silly office of the canceled commercials and my bumpers and stuff, and it's kind of a recurring character that the Bigot Army has appreciated. So I got to do more stuff, but yeah. So this is a great time. It always is. But yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. Again, recommendations appreciated. And Moxie loves you too. But yeah, on that note, you've got stuff coming up Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday this week.
Technically,
Yes,
no, Monday,
technically.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Find her on X or Twitter, however you refer to it. She'll probably be posting her appearances there. As for me, I have my Monday Night Musings with Moxie, my solo stream tomorrow night. If I do have guests on, which I will, this is not a secret at this point, Leon from Words of Paradise is going to be joining me next week. So when I have a guest, I usually refer to it as Saucy Rabble because, talking to somebody. If it's just me, it's the Musings with Moxie. So tomorrow's just me going to talk about some weird stuff that's been going on lately in the recent news. There's always so much lately. It's overwhelming. Always some laughs, some cringe, and maybe something new for everybody to check out because I've been dabbling with AI music.
Oh, cool.
And I've been having so much fun with it. I did a song. No, I put in a prompt for AI to make a song about pugs. It was so funny. Anyway, very simple process, very fast, but lots of fun. So hopefully it'll be a fun show. I'll not be talking about the Acolyte or Destiny. Once again, I am trying to avoid. Oh, go.
This coming week, I think it starts Wednesday night, is San Diego Comic-Con. It is the second biggest con in the country. And because San Diego is such a beautiful place, you don't have to have a ticket to the con to enjoy most of the con, honestly. You can't get into the convention center, you can't go to the panels, but they closed down the Gaslamp district and a bunch of downtown, so you can just walk around anywhere. People's in costumes. Some of the bars and restaurants have specials. Some of the there was an antique shop a couple years ago that did they took a bunch of their stuff down and they put up a museum exhibit of all of Captain Picard's belongings, as if it was like from a museum piece from like the even future beyond him. And so there's always cool, fun things to do, and you can do most of them for free. So if anyone wants to come down and be around on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, or even Sunday, I would be happy to hang out, meet people, say hello, all that shit.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I had a blast at the FNT meetup in Vegas, and it literally was one of the best weeks I've had in 20 years. So anything I can do to make that happen again.
Good vibes, good people, good times.
Exactly. Yeah. And I can't remember if I told you before, I love your new hair. It's so vibrant. It looks so good.
I just touched it up yesterday.
It's gorgeous, honestly.
Thank you. Thank you. When I'm out and about, the men folk that will compliment me or say something, they always comment on the hair, and they're always above 50, 60 years old. So some old guy, if it's in the Walmart parking lot like a week ago, old guy. It's a small town. It's not like high crime or anything. Like came up right behind my car where I was loading up groceries and stuff. If I was in a different place, it'd be a little more,
gotcha,
concerning. But he's like, "Excuse me, is that your real hair color?" Like, I touch it up. He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I like it." And he just drove off. I'm like, people are so funny.
I'm an anime character.
Oh my gosh, people are funny. Hashtag love redheads. I love redheads. It's been my favorite. I've tried all the different colors, but it's my favorite.
I used to do red. I used to do a dark red a lot, and when I was wrestling in high school, I'd like bleach little pieces, so I would try to make it look like my head was on fire because I thought that looked tough. Really, it was stupid, but it was fun.
Oh gosh, the things that we would do when we thought we looked cool.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I would not. People talk about, I wish I had my youth back or this, that. Do I wish I was healthy enough to do things? Yes. Do I ever want to go back to being a teenager again? Nope.
Yeah, no. There's so many adjacent things and situations involved with going back to being a teenager, like living with my mother again. And no.
Well, I do have to say, I have a great relationship with my mother. She is my mom.
Your mom is awesome.
She's my mom.
I hung out with you and your mom last time. It was great.
not everyone has a good
She's
relationship with their mom. I completely understand that. But it's really funny because a lot of times our apartment is so tiny. The living room is also my bedroom and her office. So there's a lot of
perfect.
times where if I'm on with MSK and I have any, like, I don't like to wear headphones at all because it tends to give me a headache more likely, and then I can't be on as long. So the things that comes out of his mouth on a semi-regular basis,
I'm
you know, it's
familiar.
so funny because he'll say something and everyone, like all the guys on the stream will go, Tiny's mom, you there?
Oh gosh, has she heard, or do you
Oh yeah, oh
usually
she
have
heard us.
the head?
She'll come
Oh,
over.
okay.
She'll come over and she'll snark or poke at him.
Oh gosh, I don't understand this comment, Aberg. Wait, is Jess not 5 years old? Which
Yeah.
Jess? And no, neither of us are.
Mm-mm. Though I did actually get asked if I was graduating high school the other day.
I don't know whether to compliment you or I'm confused.
I took it as a compliment.
Sure.
I mean, I'll look
I
young
mean,
when I'm older, probably. It was just like, really? I mean, I was wearing slightly baggy pants, and I was in a medical situation, and I don't know if you noticed, the best doctors have the coldest fucking offices. It's
yeah,
stupid
what is
cold.
that?
I don't know why it is, but it's just almost every single time I go to a specialist who's a really good specialist, their office is the most cold. So I had this. So I
I'll
had a
pay more
hoodie on.
attention.
I had a hoodie on, so like I wasn't really all that obvious, I guess. But I was like, does my face really look like a 17 or 18-year-old? I don't think so.
Well, you are tiny.
I am tiny,
You are
and that does
tiny.
tend to confuse people sometimes. Like tiny doesn't actually mean young. Like when we get old, we'll start to shrink.
Oh, you'll be tinier but fierce. Tinier but still fierce.
Yeah, my mom loves to tell the story that supposedly when I was like 4, I said, I'm going to be really tall when I grow up. And my mom said, that's not something you get to choose. I
Oh,
was
I'm
like, what do you mean? She said,
sorry.
well, your dad's average and I'm short. So you're not likely to be all that tall. And I looked at it, supposedly, I do not remember this. She just tells this story all the time. Supposedly, I looked at her and went, well, I'll be taller than you. And I was.
Did that work
Eventually,
out?
eventually that worked out.
Hey, we
Thank you,
both look
Adam.
really young. Thank you.
Well,
Yes.
I call it the Wonder Bread syndrome. Like what they put in Wonder Bread, so it's like super squishy and fluffy, like 2 weeks after it's been on your shelf, is the
Mhm.
same. It's a similar chemical makeup to what they use to make tires stay plump and rubbery. And I'm
Oh,
convinced that years and years of Wonder Bread has just made us all rubber. None of us are aging right.
you've got the rubber skin. I have a friend, his skin, he can pull it like that.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't. See,
I
I
haven't
got
been
touched.
officially diagnosed, but I've got like all more than 2/3 of all the Ehlers-Danlos checks. So yeah, elasticy skin, joints that like to flop around a bit.
Wow.
Hey,
Remember, we'll see how long it.
some of us are put together better than others. Just because your joints and your skin does what it's supposed to do, don't be all special.
We take what we get. It's fine.
No, I am
Work with
well
what we
aware
got.
of the ridiculousness of my situation sometimes, and I have no problem making fun of myself.
You can't laugh at situations. I mean,
Well, I said many years ago, I'd been sick for a few years at that point, and I'd finally come to the understanding that I was going to have to go on disability, which took me a long time to accept. And I realized that everything in life, to a large degree, comes down to you can laugh or you can cry on whatever's going on. And so I try to laugh as much as possible. Sometimes
excellent
I'll
attitude.
laugh with tears coming down my eyes because I'm also
True.
crying, but I do try to laugh as much as possible. And Adam, I am so sorry. That is really awkward.
Getting called his wife's dad. Oh, her wife, his wife's dad. Yeah, I said it right the first
Yeah,
time.
that's awkward. You
Thanks.
don't look that old in the profile picture.
Oh shoot. Well, I think I'm out. Did you have anything else you want to talk about? We're good. You guys good? You're good out there? Well, thank you everybody for stopping in and clapping the cheekies. That's always fun.
Thank you for my very first raid.
You've been initiated into the bigot army. So yeah, follow Tiny in all the places. She doesn't have her own channel up and running yet, but it may be a possibility at some point.
At some point,
Someday.
I really need to. I don't want to do it if I can't keep up with it. And at the moment, I just know I can't keep up with it.
Fair.
But
All right,
a lot of
everybody.
people saying just turn on a camera and just make something anyway. And even if you don't put it up, and so I'm gonna try to be a little bit more proactive.
Sure. Get some practice in.
But this was a
All right.
blast. I have fun every time we
Always.
do this.
Always a blast. And thank you so much for coming on with me. And we're gonna do it again in a few weeks. So
Yep.
until next time, I'm gonna leave you with
Night night, everybody.
good night, everyone.
Don't get like and subscribe.